Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk podcast, and another edition of Let's the RailCats come back and win another game because they did it again. Uh, John Sheeks may not have had his best stuff at the beginning of the game, gave up 5 runs, but you know what? The RailCats decided to come together. Sheeks then shut them down, didn't let them score a run, and Josh Vincent came in, didn't let them score a run. And then the RailCats just hit the ball all over the place. Now I know that Sioux Falls, their Sioux Falls Stadium supposedly is not a very big stadium. It's a hitter's ballpark. But you can't take that away. No matter what the ballpark dimensions are, you can't take that away from the Wildcats winning this because the Sioux Falls had the same opportunity as the Railcats did. So I'm not, it kind of sucked listening to the AA TV baseball side of it because I had to listen to their announcers announce and um, it's a good perspective to get from them because like they know the ballpark, but like it was just I know it's their home broadcast, but they were like taking it away from the Railcats what they've done recently. They kept saying that the offense isn't there, they don't got any power, blah blah blah. And you're right, they haven't. I mean, their numbers when you look on the paper, it's not there. I mean, just looking at the averages right now after the game. Daniel Lingua is the only one at 300, and Michael Woodworth is the only one above 250. I mean, you're right. Their hitting may not be there, but they're starting to string things together, and it's coming from all over the place. Zach Rakusin is having a great year with the Railcats coming in. Chris Burgess was having a good turnaround there. I mean, even Sam Abbott's coming around, turning around very well. You're starting to get bits and pieces from people. You're going to have the consistent people in the lineup like Michael Woodworth, Daniel Lingua, and Zach Rakusin. I would say those are the three guys that you're going to count on in and day out to at least get a hit or something productive. And then the other pieces fall in. Michael Cruz having 3 hits today, that kind of stuff. People are going to get there. Once you get people on base, I'll bring people in, so on and so forth. Today was the first day we got to see Jesus. I I had it. Mariaga. There we go. I had it, and then I looked at it, and then I lost it. Mariaga, who actually had he wasn't injured. He had a visa issue, so that didn't finally get through until I think last week. So good to see him come in the lineup. He got a sac fly today, walked twice. So still being able to get a sac fly and get 2 walks in your first game is pretty impressive. Just coming in off of being away from the game, live actual pitching for a little bit. But so let's go ahead and get into the scoring as Michael Woodworth led it off. Was led off with Zach Wells, who struck out looking, but then Woodworth got a walk. Lingua grounded out the second, and the funny thing about Lingua here, he went 1 for 4, and all of his outs were ground out to second. I'll get in a little bit of that in a second. And then Michael Cruz this was an interesting play, and I think they gave him an error on it. I wrote it down as an error on it as well. I want to see here. Yeah, so they gave him a single, and then he advanced to second on the error by the right fielder, but it was still a run batted in on Ulrich, which was like a bounce play. Like that the whole they were another field that was all artificial turf. So you get weird, crazy bounces when that happens. The ball, I mean, not so much like the bounces are crazy, but like the bounce on a normal turf, it probably wouldn't have been as high because he came in and he was going to make a throw to home. But so that was a kind of funky play that ended up being a RBI single, then E90 moved to second. And then Rakusin grounded out to second. Then that's when everything kind of fell apart for the Railcats. After that inning was over, John Sheeks just didn't I don't know if he really didn't have his stuff because the first hit could have gone either way. Like it was right there on the line. It was kind of like a blue. It it went to the wall, but it was kind of like one of those bloop ones where I think the left fielders were also batting a little bit of the sun. Because I thought Rasmussen could have made the play, but I think with the sun and trying to battle the track, I think it was kind of one of those hard ones to make. And the angle of where the camera was and where the bullpens are, you couldn't really see very well what happened there. Um, but there was just a hit there, and then Martinez had another one. Like there was a lot of the Canaries found a lot of hits right in the triangle of the defense, where no one could really get to it, where there was a left fielder, two infielders going, you just couldn't really get there. And that's why these would have been like one of the games that I wish Javion would have stayed in, because I think he would have made a couple of the ones that kind of fell in the center field just because of his pure speed. I'm not saying that Zach Wells isn't a great defender, he doesn't have wheels, but I just think having Javion in center field for the purpose of his defense and his speed and ability to read the ball, I think would have made a couple more of those plays. Not saying that the outcome of the game would have been any different, especially not in that first inning, because a lot of it was down the line, a bloop here, bloop there. So there's nothing really major going on until Michael Zaweski. That was a long name. I'm gonna butcher that one all night. But he had I think it was a 2-run shot, which brought them up to 4. Or no, that was the 5-1 or 5-1 at that point. So yeah. Then going into the second inning, Sam Abbott. Well, it wasn't. Well, Olin flew out to right field, and Sam Abbott came in and hit a solo shot to right field. That brought us in with 3. There was no scoring. Well, Sioux Falls, there was no scoring from them. Not until we got until the 7th inning on a Lingua. So speaking of this, Lingua in the 3rd inning grounded out to second. 5th inning grounded out to second, and then the 7th inning, he decided, screw it. I'm tired of hitting it to the second baseman. I'm just gonna hit over his head and then over the right fielder's head, which kind of started a rally. And to get to another point here, there was only 1 run that was scored that wasn't in the second with 2 outs to go. Actually, no, I take that back. Not until the 9th inning, when technically speaking, with Mariaga's sacrifice, there was still 2 outs. So I'm gonna go with still the 2 out portion of it. So 8 out of 9 runs were with 2 outs. Now I'm not saying that the play started with 2 outs, but it was 2 outs, and then you get the out, then the score. So realistically, the RailCats took a 2-out rally to a whole nother level. Because the Sam Abbott home run was the solo home run in the second was the only one that wasn't with 2 outs. It was with 1 out. So like I said, Wells struck out he grounded out to 3rd, and then Woodworth popped out to 2nd. Lingua hit the solo home run. Cruz came in, hit a double, and then Rasmussen hit another double that brought Cruz in. And then Olid had a RBI single to right field and then got thrown out at second to end the inning there. And then going into the 8th is when the floodgates kind of open a little bit. This is where the turning point of the game. This is where it really came about. So Abbott came up in the 8th. He struck out. Then Mariaga got a walk. Walraven got a walk. Wells struck out. And then Woodworth came up on a 1-2 count and hit a line shot. I'm not saying that maybe, in any other park it would have probably hit the wall. It may have not gone over. I know for sure the Steelyard it would have hit the wall. Like, this wouldn't have been an out, and it still would have broken the game wide open. It just happened to be a line shot here at Sioux Falls where the ball just going to go anyway. So he hit a 3-run shot. Then Lingua struck out to end the inning. And then going into the 9th, Cruz got a single. Rasmussen walked, Olin walked, Abbott struck out, and then Mariaga had the 2-out or the 1 out to turn to 2 out sacrifice fly that brought in Cruz that ended the stat line there, 9-5. Looking at the pitchers for the RailCats, John Sheeks came in to start, gave up for 5 runs that were all earned on 6 2. And like I said, he came in and he shut the door. Like, yeah, he had a rough start, and I think there was just a couple hits there, here and there that kind of got him a little bit. But other than that, he came in and then shut it down. He pitched 6 2/3 innings, gave up 10 hits, struck out 4, walked once. Josh Vincent came in to finish the game out. He is the winning pitcher of record. He went 2-1, or well, went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 1 hit and 3 walks. And then the losing pitcher for the Sioux Falls is Stevie Ledesma. But I'm sorry if I butcher their names. I don't know them enough to care. At the point they lost, so that's all that matters. So he is the losing pitcher of record. He pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit. That was the solo home run, or the 3-run shot from Michael Woodworth. Michael Woodworth there. So I mean, overall, it was a great game. That I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was one of those that I was like, oh, are they gonna do it? Are they going to just let it kind of go on the wayside a little bit? But they didn't. They came back and really hunkered down on that. So the 3 players of the game, or my players of the game, I normally go with 3 just because, sometimes. I mean, realistically, you could have picked 1 or 2, but I just want to go with 3 because I think the last one deserves to be in just because he did throw out 2 runners. But Michael Woodworth had the 3-run home run to score, to take the lead. He was 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a walk. And then Sam Abbott hit a solo home run in the second to kind of keep things going a little bit. But he did go 3 for 5, and he was 1 short of the cycle. So I think you kind of have to give him a little bit on that credit on that one. And then Michael Cruz went 3 for 5. He had 2 runs. And then he also threw out 2 Canaries runners as well, stealing the bases. I believe 1 in the 6th and 1 in the 8th. Not saying that anything would have come of it, but I think his defense is starting to come around a little bit. I think him throwing players out or stuff. I still think he's a little rocky behind the plate as far as stopping the balls. He does a lot of the backhanding stuff, which is kind of a little weird to me. But I mean that is what it is at that point. But his ability to throw runners out, he has a cannon of an arm. It's starting to show on that portion of it. It was overall a good game. When you look back at the last bit of the RailCats here, they dropped a handful to Sioux City at the Steel Yard. I think the big one that was given up was the Saturday game, where I think they were, let me see, I believe that they were up. I just want to look at the box score. It's not giving me the box score. That's all I wanted was the box score. I could look at the box score, but it's not giving me the box score. Hold on, let me go here. Still trying to navigate all this other fun stuff. Okay. Yeah, it was where they kind of fell apart. I think it was Vega that ended up. No, my bad. It was Jack Eisenberger came in and gave up the losing runs there, and then Vega came up and kind of sweep things up a little bit. But that was, that's I guess what I was confused by is I think that Vega has earned himself the role of the closer in that situation where it's 3-2 or 3-1. I would prefer Vega going in, just because he's proven that he can do it. So I think that's just a little. I mean, you want to put people in certain roles, but I just don't think Jack Eisenberger he's either going to be a starter or he's going to be a longer reliever. I don't think you can put him in high pressure situations, as you've shown out here that it closing a game out is a high pressure situation. You want to try to win the game. So I mean, they could have taken that series they didn't. I mean, they were coming in off a hot streak. They came back and won there on Sunday. A score of 67. That was another comeback win. Um, that was just unreal. These RailCats. That's two games in a row now. It wasn't a walk up, but I think that the Sioux City game is probably, that last game was probably the game of the year. I don't think, just looking at the box score, it just kind of went back and forth. You go up 5-4, you give up 2 runs, and then you come back, game's tied. You give up 2 runs in the ninth there. I mean, you score all these runs here at the eighth, and then you give up 2 runs, and then you walk it off in the ninth. I haven't really, I just short-term memory loss here, but yeah, it was Zach Rakusin hitting a single that brought in Daniel Lingua to score. So like right then and there, this team just does it. All right, that's what I was gonna say. This team just likes to come back and win. It's just simple as that. So I just, looking here at the standings and everything, the Sioux City Explorers, okay, you kind of let that one. They're starting to play a little bit better ball, but Sioux Falls, they're 8-21. Like, this is a team they need to just keep beating up on. Like, you have to win that. You have to sweep this series. Like, you just have to. Like, to get you, if you win these next two, you're at 500. Like, who would have thought the Gary South Shore RailCats would be 500 at this point, at 30 games back, 30 games into the season? Who would have thought that this is where they're going to be at? Because their offensive, it hasn't been there. Their pitching has been there. I think us RailCats fans, the people that have enjoyed the RailCats, would see that, I would see them being a 500 team and fighting for a playoff spot, but I just don't think the league, they don't have the respect from the league yet. And it just shows right here when you listen to the AATV broadcast and you're listening to the Sioux Falls Canaries broadcasters, they're an 8-21 team, just crapping on the RailCats. Oh, they don't got offense. They got offense. They ain't got to worry about nothing. They don't got offense. They don't got offense. Blah, blah, blah. No offense. And what happens is we score offense. And we get our offense going. We score. So I just think if someone just takes a clip of that audio and then just plays it throughout you have an 8-21 team telling you that you have no offense and you can't score runs, but yet they're 8-21. You know what I'm saying? So and they're on a 4-game losing streak. Like, on a 4-game losing streak, you just keep driving that into the ground and you just keep going with it. So these are the teams that the RailCats must win. I'm okay with, maybe losing to Kansas. You split a series with Kansas City Monarchs. You have a series coming up against the Fargo Moorheads. If you take one of two, if you win the series, you ideally want to win the series, but if you just prevent yourself from getting swept by those teams and you play competitive baseball, once you get around back to the Sioux Falls Canaries, get back to the Cleveland Railroaders, even Lake Country, and be competitive with the Milkmen and the those are the teams you want to you want to win this series for. Is I would say the Kane County Cougars. You want to be competitive with. You want to win that series. If you don't win every series, you kind of understand the Milkmen. They're right there behind the Chicago Dogs. I just don't know if quite. The Dogs are here right now are having a little tough spell, losing 4 right now. They're playing the Milkmen actually, so that's not a good sign for the Chicago Dogs. So I'm okay. Maybe Chicago and the Milwaukee kind of they're gonna duke it out there for a little bit, but just looking at the standings being in 4th position, King County is the next team you want to jump, and they've only played 1 less game than you have. A couple rains out here or there, but you keep battling for it, and I mean realistically, you win 2 in a row. And you'd be 16-16, and maybe the Milkmen drop 2. They'll be 16-14. So you're only 4 games back from the top. You're 4 games back from the top. So it's not a bad place to be, I guess, at that point. But yeah, it was a fun game. I enjoyed definitely watching it and covering it. Um, Tomorrow, I don't know. I may do a podcast, or I may do something like I did on Facebook, where I kind of typed everything out. Just because these games start at 7, by the time that they get over, it's gonna be like 10:30 anyways. Just because most games go about 3.5 hours. Um, and then I have to be up at work the next day. And then the Thursday game is there. It's a game at noon. So I probably won't be covering that. And then the Friday game, uh, I will actually be spending Father's Day with my father, just because I'm working on Sunday, so I can't spend Father's Days with it. So I may try to push out a podcast tomorrow, as well, after the game, just to kind of give something, because like with my bachelor party and all that other stuff, it just kind of wasn't quite there. So I'll try and get something out. And me close. Sometimes I've closed. Luckily yesterday was an off day, so I was closing, so I didn't have to worry about anything. So I'll get something going and get something out there, for the people that listen. Like I said, I do enjoy, the listeners. I enjoy chatting with everyone. If you enjoy the podcast, if you enjoy what I'm doing, be sure to share it with your friends, family, kind of get this thing going a little bit, better, get it out there, kind of get it going a little bit. More people, the more opinions everyone has. I know it's the RailCats and not everyone is always watching, but I just want to keep people updated and to kind of keep the game around, because the American Association, it's getting some recognition this year, from players and so on and so forth. So I just want to keep the train running, keep it rolling down the tracks there. But I'm your host, Kyle Savedich. I hope you enjoy this podcast. If you do, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. But if you do comment, I will try to answer back, with anything, everything, opinions, so on and so forth, next things I could use for the next podcast, things like that. But for me, I'm done. I know you enjoyed the results of the game. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. But that's gonna do it for me. And go Cats.